What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the early works of seasoned comedians before they were seasoned with this week's guest, Matt Nappo. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist and host of Done Way Past Funny. Thank you for joining us as we continue our interview with the Mind Dog, Matt Nappo. Enjoy. So I think this is the time when we're supposed to discuss Koa coffee and butt plugs. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Butt plug, yeah. The butt plug lady. I haven't advertised that for a long time, well, for a while, at least in my memory. But one of my sponsors is Entice Me, which I guess I'm selling here. The truth is, there are laws in every state about toys for children, what they can be made out of, as far as the chemical makeup of the toys, and the cancer-causing elements are forbidden in lots of child toys that they will never put in their body. They just hold them, and they're outlawed, and they can't make them. But butt plugs and all the kind of dildos and things like that, there are no laws about that. There are some companies that are very conscious about that, and they manufacture non-toxic butt plugs and dildos, and Entice Me is a major real retailer of that. So
Now, because actually my question, because one of your sponsors is Koa Coffee, and you drink Koa Coffee,
right
right?
by the gallon.
Are there other sponsors that you have that you actually have used their product?
Butt plug. No, I don't have I listen. Well, but I am a very sensitive guy when it comes to butt stuff. I don't understand the younger generation fixation with anal sex and all that stuff. So no butt plugs for me. But gambling, yeah. I used to have I can't even remember the name of them now. Because we just changed. Now we have a new sponsor called BetAnySport.eu. But we used to have another gambling site that I bet on some sports teams with. They were a sponsor. Who are the other sponsors that I've actually used their product? I used to say that I would not offer a product unless I had used it, and then the butt plug sponsor came up, and I was like, well, I can't really go there. They don't really even have anything that she does sell a lot of male products, but there's nothing I would use.
Because that was going to be that was my question about products that you have on the show and whether or not you can actually full-throatedly give them an endorsement other than the coffee one.
Yeah. No, I can't. Nothing. But well, True Fire, I have done some. I did the 30-day free trial with True Fire, which is a guitar study online thing. So yeah, I have used them. I'm not like an active member of them.
Okay.
I would be if I had time. You know what? That's the excuse I'm going to make, because I don't believe in stopping learning just because you can do it professionally. There's as far as musicianship, there's so much more I could learn, but time is short, man. And listen, I'm not going to become like Eddie Van Halen type shredder, even though I would love to learn that technique. I'm never going to use it in what I do musically.
That's fine. I started playing guitar in 1976 or 1977. One of those 2 years. And because I went to a school that was 96% white, and the other 4% were a mixture of Asian and black. Well, actually, I think that I think we were African American back in the 70s. I can't remember what we were.
Right, yeah.
But
no, I think you were still Negroes then.
Oh, it could have been. I know I wasn't colored.
Oh no, that was the 60s.
Yeah. But because of my skin tone, when I started playing guitar, people just assumed I was going to be like Hendrix. That was like the one black guitar player that everybody knew. And so it was
Wow.
like, and
No,
since
I
my
wouldn't
last,
be.
and
My prejudice ran different because I had a black friend who played guitar, and I always expected him to play like funk and like
mm,
Sly and the Family Stone type of stuff, in those days. And I was shocked when he was actually a rock head, and more of a rock head than I was. I was like, wait a minute, you're black, you're supposed to be like funky, man. Come on.
uh, uh, now, so people, and since my last name is Fenderson, people expected me to play a Fender.
Right.
So, so I refused to buy a Fender. I wouldn't buy a Fender at all. Now, I mean, I do have a Fender bass. Nope, that's a Yamaha. So the only Fender I have is a Fender amplifier. Up till then, that's because my last name is Fenderson. I refused to buy a Fender just because people were expecting me to do that.
Yeah.
So that's it. They were expecting me to be like they were expecting me to play like Hendrix. So I wasn't ever going to. I didn't want to be like Hendrix.
Wow.
So, but one of the things I used to hang out with this keyboard player in the 70s, and he used to sit the guitar on his lap and hammer it like a keyboard. And so I thought that was an interesting technique to borrow. And so I started hammering as well. And I was just starting out. And I went to college and I met this guy. Hopefully I can remember his name later on. Brock. I think his name was Phil Brock.
Yeah.
And he saw me hammering on the guitar and he goes, "Oh, stop that. That'll never go anywhere." And I shouldn't have listened to him because his claim to fame was that he was originally with the Talking Heads and he quit because he said they would never go anywhere.
Wow.
So,
I thought because when you said Brock, there's a guitar player who he's disabled. He's in a wheelchair, but he plays like that, and he's phenomenal. He plays with two hands on a guitar on his lap, and hammering like that, and he's incredible.
that's
Brock,
not the guy that was on in Roadhouse, is it?
no,
Oh, okay. I can't remember that guy in Roadhouse. There was a guy in
yeah, Jeff,
Roadhouse.
not Jeff. Yeah, I can't think of his name now. Damn it, I know who you're talking about. Maybe it was Jeff. Ah, it'll come to me. It'll come to me after we're off the air later.
Yeah. So who were your musical influences then?
Oh, all over the map. I mean, I loved Motown when I was a kid. I loved the Beatles, obviously, Stones, Monkeys, all those things. AM Gold, that was my thing growing up. The Hollies and He Ain't Heavy, he's my brother, and things like that. The Shy Lights, all that kind of stuff. And then Led Zeppelin, of course, in the 70s, Deep Purple, and all that rock stuff. A little Black Sabbath for a little bit. Then Southern rock, Allman Brothers and Lynyrd Skynyrd and all that stuff went through that phase. Then 80s stuff, I was big on like Springsteen in the 80s and Brian Adams and people like that. Cool and the Gang, basically from like 79 to maybe 83, somewhere in there. Um, I've been all over the map, but one of I think where I am come from mostly is songwriting, and so there were a lot of folk people, a lot of country people, and I was very attracted to lyric writing in particular. So a lot of that stuff is where I think my songwriting influence comes from. Robbie Robertson, who just passed away, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, even to some extent, all that kind of stuff was for songwriting. Now, later on, John Hyatt, Lyle Lovett, and people like that, Towns, Van Zandt, but always lyrical stuff. Tom Waits is a big influence. There's so many, so many.
So when you write music, um, is there like a place in your head or heart that you can go to where where your music is, or you understand what I'm saying? Like for me, I write best. I'm at my desk here, and I can write almost anything at my desk. You take me away from my desk, and I think I have writer's butt plug or something. I can't, but right here, literally right here, you can say, I need a 10-minute song. And I was okay. What do you want it to be about? And I can sit here and start typing, and I'm done. Is there a place for you like that where you can just put you there and you can start writing?
It's called marijuana. Uh, Usually, I'm a pothead, and I've been a pothead since I was 11 years old, with some breaks off for bad behavior. Uh, but if I smoke a joint or get high a little bit, the instinct is to pick up and start writing a song. And my wife could always tell, and people who've known me always can tell, I just got high because I have a guitar in my hand or I'm at a keyboard. That's my instinct, is just to go sit down and start writing the minute I start feeling a little high, and that will propel me once I start. So I've been so prolific. I mean, I've written, and not copyrighted or published, but I've written over 3,000 songs.
Wow.
Uh, that's how many times I've gotten high. Probably, maybe it got high a couple of times when a song didn't come out of it. But so that's where I go. I mean, as long as I'm high, I could be anywhere. I could be in a car and write a song in my head, just banging on the steering wheel, and figure out later where the chords go to support the melody that I'm singing along with that. Or I will just, if I'm stoned, I'm right. Or if I'm a
So,
little buzzed, I'm
which
right.
is first for you? It doesn't matter. Is it sometimes the lyrics first, sometimes the chorus first, or you know?
Almost always lyrics. I
Yeah.
start. I'm really curious about creative process, and I talk about this a lot of times. And I'm fascinated by that the Beatles documentary Get Back,
Yes.
where,
Yes.
where
Yes.
McCartney is kind of just like, he's got a melody in his head, and he's a melody first guy, and then he's letting the words just come to him and telling somebody else to write it down. Well, oh, write that down. That's good. Um, for me, it almost always starts with a title or a concept. What do I want to
Yeah.
write about? What idea do I want to express in this? And from there, it will just kind of work itself out, and it will be lyrics. Lyrics drive, but I write kind of, get the title and maybe a first line and have a melody idea or a chordal idea, harmony type of idea with the guitar. And then I go line by line, just kind of doing that kind of stuff. There have been a couple of times recently where I just finished the show and we were talking about songwriting or something. And I wrote a song called I Got Something to Say. And that was just all at once. I just picked up the guitar, turned on record, and wrote this song in, and it's got a lot of lyrics in it, to the point where I have to, if I'm going to play it, I have to go back and listen to it and say, what the hell was I saying in that song? I know the idea that I expressed, but there's some really cool lines in there. I don't know where they came from. They just, just happened at once. But songwriting process can come a lot of different ways. I have written, I've told this story a couple of times now. A song I wrote about my son who passed 8 years ago. I wrote that in my sleep, completely in my sleep. Woke up with the song entirely written, and I was asking people, "What song is this? Where is it?" I'm singing the song, and like I have it, completely worked out. And I don't know that song. It's like never heard it before. I think I wrote it in my. I woke up in the morning with it completely in my head, like, what was that? Like going on Shazam and singing the line, and they're not finding any songs that match that. And oh, wow. Um, and that was you talk about mind blowing experiences. I wrote that song. I got up. Where is the song coming from? By noon that day, I had it all worked out, and I was recording it, and I had the rhythm track already done and like a guide vocal for it. And then I went out to check my mail, and for me, I have to walk about 500 feet across my property, and then cross a street to get to my mailbox. And as I was taking the mail out of the box, I see a kid that's on a bicycle. He looks exactly like my son. And as I'm pulling out, my son had passed like about a year before this. I'm pulling the mail out. He goes, "Watch it, Pop. Watch your back, Pop." And my son always called me Pop, which like freaked me out a little bit more. And then the car just came by and almost hit me, and it just kept going. And I was like, "Holy shit! I almost got hit by a car." And this kid kind of just gave me the warning. And he's driving past me. Then he just like gave me this like weird smile and kept going. And I was like, "Holy fuck!" And I thought at that moment, like, I'm stunned. I think my kid on a bike. And I'm thinking I should go chase after him. Like I'm gonna get in my van now and chase him down and grab him. And I'm like, the kid's gonna have you arrested. Like it
Yeah,
was
you'd be
just
writing songs in prison. You'd be writing a whole different thing. Like, okay, Johnny Cash got started like this. No.
but it was one of those moments that made me question the whole, reality, existence, afterlife, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not a big believer in that stuff. And I know from all my experience that people in that state, in a state of grief and mourning, will attach the littlest things to have bigger meaning than they do. And I'm quite aware of that. But in that moment, it felt real. It felt compelling and real, and like, oh my God, that's him. It's one of and that will stick with me till the day I die, of course. But so that's a song came to me in its entirety while I was sleeping.
Now, have you had the opportunity to perform that song or record it
I
or?
recorded it, and there's a video for it. It's called "When I Walk with You Again." It's on my YouTube channel. But it's not something I would. Most of the stuff I write and record is too much for my band. My band is not a very nuanced band.
Okay,
We are a party band, and we bring
145.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so even if we did we do like classic jazz songs, but we do it with a punk rock drummer. So everything comes out with that intense energy. It's not there's no nuance, no subtlety to anything we do at all. It's just in your face rock and roll dance party.
Now, when you're, because for what you do, and you have to be. I shouldn't say you have to be well versed, but you have to be somewhat versed in multiple topics. When you're interviewing all these people, do you just like bone up on the guest list? Is like, oh, okay, this guy works on an oil rig. Let me get a little background on oil rigging.
I don't know. I have I guess because it didn't come naturally, but I guess because I've been doing it so long that I feel comfortable talking. All I have to know is what you do. What you do. I can look at your bio, your short bio, and definitely figure some things out about you that is interesting enough for me to ask you questions about it, and then we'll take it from there. I don't do a lot of research, almost none. People, I've had people say to me after an interview, "Wow, you really did your homework." I was like, "No, I don't do any. I've never done any homework. I've always, even in school, never did my homework. Sometimes never went to classes, but somehow passed all the tests and got through. It just that part of it, I don't really get I don't try to pre-think things. I've had people say to me, they wanted to know what I wanted to talk about. They wanted a list of questions. I was like, no, that's not what I do. I'm
Right,
about really free flowing conversation. Even with the band, people ask me for set lists.
right.
They sit in with us. We don't have a set list. We never pre-think anything. We don't go thinking, well, what are we going to play? Ever. Like, what do you feel like playing in this moment? Generally, me and my lead singer are on the same wavelength, the same way as you and your bass player were. And it basically, we just go with the flow. We don't, let's play this, let's play that. Okay.
So now this is where I get a little. So when you've interviewed a good number of comedians,
Lots of them.
and I guess this could be just anybody, but how should I put it? What did you have? Because you yourself are a humorist.
Right.
Has interviewing the way you felt about comedy or as a humorist when you first started being a humorist? I shouldn't say when you first started being a humorist. When inclination to be a humorist first hit you,
Yeah.
did you have like an idea of what that was going to be like, and how does that compare now that you're older? Did it live up to expectations, and do most comedians live up to that expectation that you
Well,
cross?
again, mine was mostly written when I was thinking of myself in terms of humorist. I was thinking of essayist, well, not necessarily performing stand-up comedy or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Most of the interviews I do with comedians are stand-up. Now, I am always interested in the creative process of that, but I'm more, I talk a lot about the business and how the business has changed. And I have the luxury, or have had the privilege, I guess I would say, of interviewing people who are at the open mic level, people who are into it for 5 years, people who are into it for 10 years, people into it for 30 years, and people who are into it for 50 years. And some of the differences between, like Robert Klein, who was the first, he invented the special. HBO. He was the very first guy to ever do an hour-long special for HBO, and the way business has changed and comedy has changed along the years, compared to the way people who have been doing it 30 years and are well-established headliners in this moment are doing prepare their stuff, and the way people who are open micers who've been doing for a year and doing 3 minutes and want to do and I have an hour special coming out. Like, no, it's not special. Believe me, I can tell. I haven't seen it. It's not special at all. I I know it's special though. And it's funny just to see the different perspectives on the business and how it's changed, and different, comedians at different levels, all that kind of stuff. It's all intriguing, but none of it. There's no expectation of, because comedy is so subjective and people come at it from so many different ways. And there, we talked about Rogan before. There are people who will generally tell you he's funny,
Yeah.
but if you break it down and you ask them, where he's funny, give me. I could tell you, for my famous comedians or the people I appreciate the most, I can do their bits. I won't do it justice, but I can do their bits. I can tell you what was funny about them. Tell me something funny about Rogan does. Can't think of anything, because but I know, other than just that, I think it's very subjective, and people have different tastes, and people will find different people funny that I don't find funny whatsoever. But noticing how comedy is changing in this moment, like almost all my life, and I don't know how sure you want to go here, but almost all my life, comedy has always been thought provoking. It's always been on the edge of very liberal thought.
Right.
And now we're seeing so much. I've never experienced a time in my life where there's been so much, I hate to say it, extreme right wing people getting into comedy and using whatever perspective that is in comedy. My parents were pretty conservative people, but they exposed me to people like Red Fox and the
Yeah.
Smothers Brothers and George Carlin and Richard Pryor, and people who were out there cutting edge on the left and could find them funny. Now we have, because of the political divide in this country, we have people who just reject all what I call the still funny people, the people with the left perspective, who, whether you agree with their perspective or not, they bring up the funny stuff. And
Right.
then you have the conservatives who just like, fart humor, like Larry the Cable Guy, and or Nick DiPaolo, who I don't think is funny in any way at all. I don't think he was ever funny. Who just is he wants to give you the Archie Bunker perspective on life. Is
Right.
But the comedy has changed in a big way. There are more Nick DiPaolos now than ever before. Yes, I just bashed Nick DiPaolo. Yes, I did. So you
It's
can.
been a while since because I don't watch many. I don't watch many other comedians. Part of it, I don't ever want to accidentally steal something.
Yeah, you can watch them. You would never steal any of those right winger guys. Believe me.
No, no, no. But I'm trying to think. I think actually, what's his name? Used to do. Damn it. Uh, he used to be someone an erudite liberal comedian. Then after 9/11, he started to do. I even knew people who wrote for him. Dennis Miller.
Dennis Miller. Yeah, he went hard right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to think he was really funny. And then once he started going hard right, he stopped being funny.
Right.
He just got
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah, I used to be a big fan of his in the '90s, and again, I didn't agree with everything he said, but he was I think he did become a, Bill O'Reilly, wannabe. I mean, he watched Fox News a lot. I think you're right. 9/11 broke a lot of people. The way COVID broke a lot of people. I think
Yeah.
that if you the pandemic and the controversy over vaccines and the conspiracy theories around the pandemic and all that stuff definitely broke some people's mind. People who were generally funny, who then became political commentators on the right, hard right, or conspiracy theorists on the right. And there's a lot of that now. There's way too much of it. It's frightening and sickening. So I don't know.
I'm sorry. My background is like deteriorating before my very eyes. I'm going to get rid of my background and just go with my green screen.
Yeah, go normal.
Yeah. I don't want to go totally normal. I'll go au naturel. I'll go au naturel. There we go.
Oh
I
yeah.
got it. Yeah. It's just annoying to me. It's like I don't understand what's going on here. So
Uh, it depends on browsers and stuff and all that kind of stuff. I'm not. I used to be a big green screen guy, and I did a lot of because part of my background too is in the hair and beauty industry as a technical guy doing hair design and television, and we did a lot of shoots on that kind of stuff. And it's just so much work to light the green screen properly and get everything all perfect and track motion and all that kind of stuff that just seemed like easier to do real live backgrounds. Just create your own.
well, I used to just do I started off with the live background until I did this start doing this show. And in fact, I prefer live backgrounds. And once I started doing this show and I had to have this camera and this stuff, my wall back there became more about me, and I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be about the people I'm talking to.
Right.
Because people go like, "Oh, you play guitar? Yeah, I play guitar. Yeah, and I want it to be about me. So I try to hide that stuff.
I like that because people always find the little stuff that I have out on the desk and stuff, and I love it because I forget it's there. I had a
Yeah.
woman, I had a bottle of whiskey out. It's up there. It was sitting over here, and I was interviewing a guest, and she made a comment on it. You know what? That bottle has been empty, except for it's got one shot left in it for about 12 years now, and I haven't touched it. It's just there as a prop. It because I thought it looked cool. But she was assuming that I was drinking during the interview. Like, I'm not. I don't do that. I might get stoned during an interview if it's the right person, but I would never be getting drunk while trying to interview somebody.
Hi, I'm GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist and host of Done Way Past Funny. Thank you for watching our continued interview with the Mind Dog, Matt Nappo, and please come back to watch more of our interview with Matt Nappo. And when you come back to join us, bring a friend.